What's up, guys? Bandwagon Sports. This is Aiden, and in this video, I'm going to be making a tier list of all the Power 5 college football teams based on the program's history, the players they've produced, and basically just their history. Just how much I like the team. Georgia Tech, they are probably one of my least favorite teams as a Georgia fan. Um, they have produced some pretty great wide receiver talent. Demarius Thomas, Calvin Johnson. Um, I'm probably gonna put them in the D tier. Um, Michigan State, they had a couple of good years in the 2010s, late 2000s. They had a couple of good years. They've always been a pretty decent team. I'm gonna put them in the B tier. Clemson, very recently, in the 2010s, very good program, elite program. They are an A tier program, not an S tier. They are an A tier. Ohio State, lot of good talent comes out of Ohio State. They aren't going to be below an A. Everybody already knows that. I'm going to put them in S tier based off of, they've won a bunch of bowl games in the past couple years. And they've won 10 or more games in every season that I've watched them play, besides the COVID year. Kentucky, they're a solid program. They're okay. They're nothing special. There's not a whole lot they've done. I'm going to put them in the C tier. Pitt, the greatest defensive player of all time has come out of there. Aaron Donald, in case you're wondering. I love Pitt as a program. I love them as a college. I'm going to put them in the B tier. Florida, some of them teams were scary. With the ones with Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, all them. Very scary teams. Purdue is, in my opinion, a lot like Kentucky. I'm putting them in the C tier. There's not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to Purdue. Besides, I don't know, Drew Brees. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but he's not. One player doesn't make you a good school. Oregon, another team, they've sustained success for a pretty decent while, and I'm going to put them in the A tier because of that. Auburn is a very interesting team because the past 2-3 years they'd probably be down here. A couple years before that they'd be up here. Very up and down program, which is why I'm going to put them in the A tier because I love a lot of players that have come out of Auburn. I love some of their teams that they put together. I love the program. Oklahoma, in the late 2010s, Oklahoma put together a couple very solid teams. And in the past couple, or in the history of the program, they have been nothing but outstanding. They're a very good historical program, very historical. S tier. Vandy, trash. There needs to be an F tier, but it's yeah. Virginia Tech. Again, Michael Vick. I can't really name anybody else other than Michael Vick. I know I'm definitely forgetting somebody. Again, Michael Vick, one great quarterback, one great player doesn't make you a great historical program. Oklahoma State. Historically, I like Oklahoma State now. They're probably one of my favorite teams in college football, so I'd probably put them in here right now. But Barry Sanders. I'll put him in C tier. UNC, one of the best basketball schools of all time, and currently a pretty decent program in football. Um, I've seen a lot of good talent come out of there. I like UNC. Miami, early 2000s, just 2000s in general, great program. Right this second, they are not that great, but I love a lot of the dudes that have come out of here. Sean Taylor, Clinton Portis, a lot of people on that team. I like Miami. I'm gonna put them in the S tier for the players, for just overall the players they have produced. Colorado, I mean, they're always a crap show. There's nothing really to do other than put them in the lowest tier. Texas Tech. I'm gonna put right with these. I'm gonna put them here, right alongside these teams. Because I mean, Patrick Mahomes, a couple other guys, I can't think of right now. But I do like Texas Tech in this very moment. LSU, a team who has been pretty historically good. A lot of talent has come out of there. I'm going to put them right here over Oregon and Auburn. Michigan, another team, one of the greatest rivalries in college football between Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan the past couple of years has taken it home. But Michigan is always a solid program. They haven't had a bad team in what feels like forever. I'm putting them in the A tier. All right, Washington State. When Mike Leach was there, they were a great team. You couldn't really say anything bad about their offense, but without Mike Leach, they're just kind of meh. Utah, another team that I like right now, and a team that I just like in general. I've always liked Utah. I like watching them, like watching their games, putting them in the B tier. A&M, historically has been pretty good. Money Manziel, you got a lot of good talent come out of here. I'm gonna put them at the highest part of B tier because I can't put them in the A tier. But they're one of those kind of in between teams where if there was like an A-B tier, then they would be there, but I can't really I just can't do that. Alright, there's some teams, like I can put Rutgers here, there's, Iowa here. Who else am I looking at? Arizona, you can put Arizona there. Duke. I'll put Duke in C. Georgia, obviously, without a doubt, an S tier program. Right in this very moment and historically, along with Alabama. Both are very S tier programs and are very good schools. Kansas is another D tier. Northwestern's another D tier. I think that's all the D tiers I can put for right this second. Wake Forest, a couple good teams the past couple of years. I haven't really seen them do much else other than the past couple of years, so I'm going to put them there. Maryland. I can put Maryland here. When's the last time you heard of Maryland doing something? South Carolina, a lot of good teams in the 2000s. Their team is trending very up right this moment, and I love where their team is going. Texas, a very historical program. there's not a whole lot you can say bad about Texas. There's just really not. There's historically they're one of the best programs in history, and I don't see how you can put those teams. I don't see how you could put Texas any lower than the S tier. Same with USC, another extremely historical program, one of the best all time programs that I've ever seen, along with Alabama. Long time, sustained success, very solid, very good teams. I'm jumping over here, Wisconsin. They are a B tier program. They had a bunch. They had a bunch of good running backs, a bunch of years in a row, and I really liked those running backs. Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor, and right now Braylon Allen. Those are three outstanding running backs that have come out of Wisconsin. Stanford, they're okay. They're not anything special. Same with Arizona State. Again, not that special. Illinois too, throw them in there. Washington, I'm gonna put in the B tier because a couple years ago they were in the college football playoff. They were competing for a title. They were up there. Tennessee. Tennessee is probably a B tier program. Tennessee's a B tier program. There's not a whole lot to say about Tennessee. I don't really know. They're just a B tier program, right in the middle. Iowa State is going in the C tier because I can't put them any higher. They're not very good historically that I know of. I've never heard of an outstanding Iowa State team. I don't know if you guys have. I haven't. Nebraska historically is an A tier program. They all time have probably one of the best programs in college football history. They had a dynasty going at one point. They were doing pretty good. Penn State haven't won a whole lot in terms of playoffs, Big Ten championships, but they are an A tier program. I don't know how you could have them lower than that, than an A tier, and they are a low A tier, but they are an A tier team. Florida State, they're I'm gonna put them here right above Penn State historically because very recent history, Florida State has been known to have some really good teams, especially the ones with Dalvin Cook and the ones with Dalvin Cook and Jameis Winston. Those were some crazy teams, and those were some good teams that they put together. Oregon State I gotta put them there. I know I said I was done with the D tier, but I'm not. Same with Syracuse. Same with Indiana. Same with Cal. Same with Missouri. These are all very bad teams. Historically, Virginia's probably a high C tier team. I like what they have done historically. I mean, especially in the 2010s, they were pretty good. Ole Miss is a high B tier team. They usually can compete with Alabama, and they usually can compete with the good teams. They just don't ever have enough to get over the hump. Mississippi State is a team that I'm going to put in the very, very low B tier because they're not one of the best programs all time, but they're also not that bad. They're very underrated history. A lot of good players come out of there. I love Mississippi State. Louisville, we're gonna throw them right here with Virginia Tech. Very similar histories here. I'll probably put Purdue here, Louisville here. Okay. Minnesota, another, just throw them down. Okay. Boston College, throw them down. Luke Kuechly, Matt Ryan, love those guys. Well, yeah, we'll keep them in the C tier. Arkansas, another team very much like Ole Miss, can usually compete with some of those. Where did they go? Arkansas, yes. Usually they're a team who can compete with one of those high ranked teams, even though they're never really ranked high themselves. They can still compete with all of those teams just as well as anybody else can. UCLA, very recent years. Oh, dropped them. Very recent years probably been an A tier program. Overall, I'm gonna leave them in B tier. I'll probably put them here in the B tier because there is not a whole lot that I can see them, like, there's just not a whole lot that they have done. They've produced a couple good players, a lot of good players actually, but they haven't won a whole lot. West Virginia, another one of these, just throw them in there, C tier teams. Baylor is a pretty good team historically. They're better than Mississippi State. I don't think they're as good as Washington. At least as good as Washington has been. I love some of those Washington teams. I love some of these Baylor teams too. Some of these Baylor teams are really good, but I just can't. I can't put them any higher. Kansas State is an A tier program. Fight me, whatever you want to do. Fight me. They're a A tier program. Historically, they're an A tier program. TCU, high C tier. High C tier. They were in there. They were competing with Oklahoma for Big 12 titles, all that kind of stuff a couple years ago. They're in the C tier. And NC State this is my last team. They're throwing them in their C tier. There's not a whole lot that NC State has done. There's not a whole lot of players that NC State has produced. But, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to go check out our podcast at Bandwagon Sports on Spotify. And also go follow our Instagram at Bandwagon Sports. Help support the channel. Help us grow. Help grow the community. And thank you guys for watching.